Okay, bit of Beatles. What's the record coming here? Hi, yeah, sure. My name's Kevin White. I'm Australian. I'm 50 plus. I've been in the region for about 30 years in Southeast Asia, both Singapore and Indonesia. I'm married to a Canadian lady and I've got 4 grown-up kids. I don't have any main sort of interest in the collection, with the exception of, I like old cars and motorcycles. I like what they call street jewelry, which is, signs and basically I specialise in mechanical things that pretty much don't work, is my specialty. I've always had a lot of junk, even as a kid. I always collected old streets, or actually new street signs in those days, and working on lawnmowers in the backyard and sort of, my brother's old cars and things like that. But this collection is about 25 years worth of collecting. I don't actually consider myself a collector. I'm just a bad seller. My first was probably an enamel sign in this collection, which I bought probably in the early 90s, and it was an old Michelin enamel sign. It's hanging down in the back garage there. And I bought it and brought it home, and my wife thought it was cool, and she said, well, you can hang it in the bathroom. So I put it in the bathroom, and it looked really super cool. And through buying that, I found a friend in CK. He has an antique shop here, and he has a lot of runners that once you tell them what you want, eventually they'll be bringing you stuff that's similar. And I ended up, that's sort of how my collection started, buying a lot of things that I don't particularly need. There was a gentleman in the in Canada called Gord Hassel, and I bought a 41 Mercury that was actually made here in Singapore in 1941, and it was at the Ford factory. And the Japanese actually used it during the war, and then it was sent to Indonesia, and I bought it when I was living in Bali. And I needed to find out a lot of information about 41 Mercuries, and I joined the club, and he was one of the key guys in the club. And he ended up helping me a lot in restoring the car. And I went and visited him a lot. He was, I think, 45 years older than me. He was in his late 80s. So we'd go and, find parts. And sadly, he just passed away a few months ago. But he was one of my great friends through the collection game. There's a lot of difficulties. Basically, restoring things, right, without wrecking them, without making them look too new or, destroy the value of the artifact, whether it's art or a part. And finding parts for things, is extremely difficult. But these days, the hardest things is really finding people with the skill set to be able to help you when things break down. Like, it's okay in America or the UK or Australia to find people that work on old cars, but here in Singapore, it's very difficult to find someone that could work on an 80-year-old engine, for example, or a jukebox or a pinball machine. So that's really very difficult, from that standpoint. It means to me, I just enjoy form and function, I guess form over function. I love deco, I love sort of 1930s to 70s art and how stuff develops and the design and how individual it is. I think that's great. I think, the hunt, looking for something and finding it and surrounding myself in it, kind of like the man cave. But I like using my stuff. I don't wrap it in plastic. Rust is my enemy, but like a car, I like to drive it. And when I do, people outside can enjoy it. They can walk around, see the art, and ask me questions and learn a little bit more. I think I like that. I like sharing it with people. I like being different and unique and stuff like that. I think your tastes change. Everybody's taste changes. I think your knowledge improves with the collection, and obviously the older you get, the more stuff you can afford, different levels, different tastes, and things like that. When my wife and I, Hillary, came to Singapore, we were backpackers. We ran out of money. We got a job here. So what we had, we carried in our backpack. Now, obviously, we don't fit this stuff into a backpack, and I guess it ends up owning you, if you can imagine. I mean, this is a lot of work. It takes a lot of maintenance, a bit of cost, and yeah, maybe I should kind of slow down a little bit. I think I need intervention, like a drug addict or something. You think family would help stop me doing this, but I enjoy it.